This video is dedicated to the e-bike and low speed or medium speed vehicle laws and the absurdity of some of these laws, especially concerning New York City and the surrounding suburbs. As you know, I have been riding electric micro-mobility rideables for at least a decade. In fact, I was one of the very first to buy an electric scooter in 2015. Back then, it was so unique. People were actually filming and photographing me everywhere I went, even in Manhattan. I hope some of you are going to forward this video to your local representatives and politicians so that they can see the ridiculousness and absurdity of some of these laws and regulations they have introduced, which are at this point not helping anybody, but they are only making matters worse for people. Let us start with the electric bike. Currently, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, in other words, the 4 states that surround New York City or include New York City, they all have electric bike laws. It took them a while to finalize these laws, and as you can see, they are quite different and quite inconsistent. Let us look at New York. The maximum speed allowed is 20 miles per hour, but it is higher in New York City. And now the city is contemplating making it lower. So if you had a bike that was legal in New York City a year ago, it might not be legal in 2025. There is also a power limit, which makes very little sense because what if it's a cargo bike? There are massive cargo bikes already used by the Europeans, far more advanced than we are in the US. Cargo bikes that look like a little truck. There is somebody sitting in the front and he's pulling a significant amount of cargo. They cannot operate with 750 watts, even though what they do is highly beneficial to the environment. Those vehicles are cheaply and easily produced by local manufacturers, and they can take off a lot of the burden from the truck traffic in cities, not to mention that they are far less likely to significantly harm or kill somebody on the road. You don't need a registration or license pretty much anywhere. On the other hand, look at these speeds, 25 in New York City. The local moped laws are, in most states, if you have a low-end scooter, a 50cc gasoline scooter, such as the entry-level Vespa and others, the speed is limited to 25 an hour, but it has to be registered. So you can do the same speed on an e-bike, but you don't have to register it. And I will show you the speeds for non-electric bikes. All of the states require a cap on the power of 750 watts, which is about 1 horsepower. New Jersey, apparently, depending upon the location, the top speed could be 20 or it could be 25. Connecticut, 20 or 28. Why an uneven number? Why not 20, 25, 30, even numbers that people can easily remember? Why 28? I will tell you why. Because they are transferring the European 45 kilometer per hour limit, which is common in Europe for high-speed e-bikes, and it becomes 28 miles per hour in the American system. I wonder why we are doing this. America does not use the metric system. We should have 30 miles an hour, 35, something people can easily remember. How about 28.2? And then Pennsylvania, again, 20 miles per hour. Notice that even though there are no registration requirement, a 50cc scooter that can do the same speed has to be registered. And what about the helmet? There are helmet requirements in most cases. Even in Connecticut, which has absolutely no helmet requirement for a motorcycle on the highway. Not to mention that what passes as a bicycle helmet is really a hard hat. I wonder if you're wearing a hard hat similar to what construction workers wear, which protects you from objects falling from the sky. How is that going to protect your eyes or your nose or your teeth if somebody opens a truck door in your face, which happens all the time? E-bike helmets or bicycle helmets are in fact not protective and are typically useless. Yes, half and full-face helmets are available for bicycles as well as for motorcycles, but very few people use those. They typically use just a hard hat, which is not going to do much unless you salto over the handlebar. And should that happen, you will probably snap your neck anyway. And here are the motorcycle helmet requirements for each state. New York and New Jersey may be fair because they require helmets for motorcycles as well as for e-bikes, but they don't require them for non-e-bicycles, which have speeds far, far higher, in fact, several times as high as an electric bicycle. Connecticut is most interesting. If you're over 18, you don't need to have a helmet, even if your motorcycle can do 200 miles an hour. Pennsylvania is something similar, but you have to be at least 21 to ride without a helmet. Just to give you an idea of the kind of motorcycles that are legal on the road, which are on the market as of 2025. So we have the Lightning, an electric motorcycle with a top speed of 200 an hour. It is street legal. And the Kawasaki, also street legal, 200 miles an hour. So we have 218 for one and 200 for another one. Legal in Connecticut without a helmet, but if you have an electric bicycle that can do 20 miles an hour, you have to have a helmet, even if it's only a hard hat, which is really not a helmet at all. Here are some of the bicycle records for bicycles that have no electric support. Consider that even if we exclude the drafted version, and that means that a bicycle is following a truck or somebody so as to take away some of the air resistance. In unpaced situation, a recumbent currently stands at 90 miles an hour. And that record is not even new, it's a 9-year-old record. An upright bicycle can still do 51 miles per hour, way faster than the maximum speed limit for e-bikes. There are no speed limits for non-electric bicycles. You can come down the road at highway speeds or 90 miles an hour on a human-powered bicycle, and you don't have to have any registration, helmet, or anything. You are fine. And that's probably the reason why so many road bikers have been posting videos online about them doing highway speeds on highways or main roads. And by the way, anybody who has experience riding on greenways knows that the road bike with the 36 gears is by far the fastest and the most dangerous. The psychology of those riders is unique. Most e-bike riders just want to get from point A to point B. Either they are illegal migrants who are doing deliveries, or they are well-paid professionals who use this in replacement for a car, especially in busy urban areas. Neither of these care to race other people. It is the racing road bike with the bullhorn handlebar that is always racing everybody and causes all of the animal kills as well as human injuries. It is notable that none of these states have any laws about electric monowheels or skateboards. Some of them can reach speeds as high as 45 miles an hour. There is absolutely no law governing them. There are some laws on scooters, not in Connecticut, not really in Pennsylvania either. Some silly laws in New Jersey. New York does not regulate them. Just so you know, some of these electric kick scooters can reach highway speed. So I guess if you want to go fast, you might as well just get a scooter. That's really what I see here. They want you to get a scooter and not get a bike, probably because the illegal migrant delivery people, which cause the most trouble in terms of being visible, riding on sidewalks, riding against traffic, blasting through red light, they are just very visible. But none of America's big cities ticket them because they have no identity, no ID, so they cannot be ticketed. Here is information on accidents and deaths. The fact is, e-bikes cause practically no death. 3 out of the 4 states don't even bother listing them because there are no numbers. In New York, it's really New York City that has some problems, but the problems are ridiculously low. You had 12 crashes that were serious, plus 4 deaths due to fires. The deaths due to battery fires are invariably linked to low quality, no name batteries imported, guess from which country, and people using them typically as illegal migrant workers with no ID and no way to ticket them. Crashes, I would like to see the details, but I bet these were also delivery people causing them. At the same time, the non-electric road bike has probably caused more trouble than this, but I have no numbers for them. Look at, in comparison, the deaths caused by motorized vehicles. In New York City alone, 250. In the state, 1,200. Pennsylvania, 1,200. Connecticut and New Jersey, smaller states, they still have hundreds, as opposed to e-bikes, which have caused nothing. And yet, there are all these restrictions to prevent what? Unfortunately, the state and the law is not just after electric bikes. They seem to be after low-speed vehicles as well. Low-speed cars are really an excellent way for most people to get around. Most people don't even need to get on the highway. They just need to run their errands, drive to the train station, or drive around to get groceries, go to the beach, the typical things. This does not require a car that can do 150 miles an hour. It does not require high speeds. It is enough to be able to operate on moderate speed roads such as 40 or 45. Unfortunately, none of the northeastern states allow low-speed vehicles to get on a road higher than 35 miles an hour. So a lot of the main but still moderate speed roads at 40 and 45 an hour are forbidden to them. And to make matters worse, they allow a vehicle that's speed limited to 20 miles an hour to get on roads marked at 35, on which the speeds are going to be at least 5 miles per hour higher. So you're going to have speeds around 40 miles per hour, and you are going to get on that with a vehicle that can only do half of that speed. Is that not asking for an accident? You have to register these little cars, and you have to have licensing. The fact is, you can get these low speed, even medium speed cars off of the internet for as little as $5,000, even lower than that. And yet, because of these restrictions, it's very difficult to use them, and especially to use them safely, because it's easy to get killed if the typical speeds on the road are twice as high as the speeds you can do. There are some states that are waking up, and they have introduced medium speed vehicle laws. These laws are a bit more strict. You have to have seat belts and a bit better crash protection, better brakes, and so on. But look, at least in Colorado, you can get a medium speed vehicle with a top speed of 45 an hour and get on the road that's marked at 45. Even then, I would prefer a top speed of 50 an hour and get on the road at as high as 45. Same thing in Montana. Washington, this is really a low-speed law. It is not really a medium speed. This is too low. Tennessee, 40 miles per hour. Not sure where you can go with that car. Kentucky, 45. Texas, doing the crazy thing. You get on a 45 mile per hour road where the speeds are probably going to be 50 to 55, and you can only do 35. But at least they are trying to do something. Interestingly, all of these states are in the West, South, or Midwest. None of the northeastern states that we have looked at so far have any kind of laws for a medium speed vehicle. Here are the requirements. Most of the cars that you can get off of the internet would have this much. They would have a parking brake, seat belts, windshield. You can probably easily get a low speed vehicle for most any state. For medium speed, it's a bit tougher, but I believe that even home-built upgrades can handle some of this. A stronger chassis, like you could make a custom-made. But overall, medium-speed vehicles are not for us in the New York area. We have no choice but to stick with the 25 miles per hour and risk our lives getting onto roads where the speeds are nearly twice as high as we can do as a max. Obviously, as you are well aware, the states in the Northeast allow cars with a top speed in excess of 200 miles an hour to operate on any roads, and they do. In fact, a few years back, there was an incident in downtown Manhattan in Greenwich Village where a BMW was doing 100 miles an hour on a cobblestoned old street and rammed into a taxi cab, causing brain damage to the person sitting on the passenger seat. So this is what can happen when you allow high-speed vehicles to get on low-speed roads, while at the same time not allowing low-speed vehicles to at least operate within reason. This is all I have to say about this issue. I hope you forward this video to some of the politicians involved, and it would be nice to see more reasonable laws and a review of what has been done here.